This is a 1909 Buick Model 10 tonneau. You can see it seats 4 people. I thought I'd just show you a few things about this car. This was Buick's entry into the lower mid-priced field. It started in 1908. It's a 4-cylinder overhead valve engine. You can see the valves up here and the linkage which goes down to the camshaft here. This car, as many have, has been converted from a low tension magneto to a high tension magneto. This is a Bosch DU4, and you can see here is a impulse drive which stores up the energy of the crank and releases it in an instant to increase the speed of the rotation and the voltage which goes to the spark plugs. Once the engine starts to revolve, the impulse drive disconnects and the magneto works normally. This car originally had a low tension magneto, and it went up to a coil box, and the coil box is actually still here, which worked with dry cell batteries and developed the spark that way. The coil box increased the voltage of the low tension magneto. And if we look around on the other side, we can see the original carburetor, or the original type carburetor. It's a Schebler. This is a Model D carburetor, and it was quite a popular carburetor. It was used for marine use and automobiles and stationary engines and all kinds of different things. The fuel entry here. The needle valve is in this unit. The tickler is right here, which gives a little extra fuel to the bowl, and it has and here is the choke valve, and underneath is an adjustment for the high speed circuit, which is simply a valve. As more air enters here, the valve drops and allows more air into the carburetor. Of course, here we see the exhaust and intake manifolds and the oil fill spouts, of which there are 2. You can see also that this car has a fan, and it also has a water pump. And here we have the transmission, which is a planetary or epicyclic transmission. And I have the clutch, the leather cone clutch, exposed. This is probably the most easily accessible clutch I've ever seen in one of the cone clutch cars. The housing just comes off with 6 machine screws and just pulls off, and there's your clutch exposed, and you can clean it or treat it with neat's foot oil. Occasionally you have to do that. Here's some, and you just I just dampen the cloth and wipe the neat's foot oil on there, and it kind of dries. The one thing you have to be careful of is the cone clutch becoming stuck in the clutch housing, which can occur if the housing gets rusty. And so I've pulled off the housing here to make sure that I at least try and clean remaining rust that's on the housing. The clutch leather is new. This clutch engages with a lever on the side here, and the 3 pedals which control it. Again, this is a planetary transmission, so it only has 2 speeds. Most do. The pedal on the right is the brake. The pedal on the center, and it works the pans here. The pedal on the center is reverse, and this pedal on the left is low speed, and it works this pan here, which is your low gear. And it has 2 speeds. When you're finished going forward, you release your foot off the low gear pedal and you pull back on the high speed lever, which is this inner lever here. And that brings the clutch forward, engaging it, and you're running the rear right off the crankshaft from the engine. That's your high speed. And so this car is actually pretty fast when you're on the straightaway because the engine has fairly powerful. This is the oil drip which goes to the transmission bearings, which is basically the transmission shaft in the front and the back of it. And this is the oil indicator for the engine. And when the engine is running, this should slowly fill up about a third away or so with engine oil, and it shows there's pressure in the engine oil is being circulated in the engine. It doesn't shoot up in the glass, it just sort of slowly fills up. And of course here's the flywheel, and you can see this has a little indicator so you can set the timing on the automobile. And here is the exhaust pipe which goes to the muffler, and you can see that copper line is the fuel line, which on these old cars they seem to, fuel line always seems to go near the exhaust pipe. And you can take another look at the side of the car. This is actually a very attractively designed automobile. Has a top, and not really a windshield. There's a fold on the top that you can fasten down to sort of act as a windshield, which has sort of a clear vinyl. Modern, of course. And there are the wheels.